Today, hello, this is CheckPoint. Hey everybody, how's it going? Are you having a good Friday?
Hello.
It's Friday just started. Yes.
It's like 2 o'clock. It's sort of started a while ago.
My first thing on Friday was reading a YouTube thing. So if I ignore that part, my Friday started looking at Paul, which means it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, if your Friday starts reading YouTube, it's just gonna go straight up. Like it's got to go up from there, right?
As far as everybody at home is concerned, 2 o'clock came and we woke up as ChillPoint started, which is weirdly very accurate for 1/3 of the people on this show.
Yeah, mostly this one. Or I guess this one
Type
there.
in
That
your
makes
guess
it more
now.
obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, sometimes I just raise out of bed like a vampire, and my eyes narrow, and I'm just like, YouTube. And like I already know. I don't have to look at the computer to know.
It's like you feel a disturbance. That
Yeah,
there's something.
in the interwebs. Like the spider I am.
Although, yeah, Beige may have just woken up, but I'm pretty sure his hair is not the result of bedhead. It's an entirely different thing.
This
Very
careful construction.
Yeah, carefully made just for the internet.
So hey everybody, welcome to ChillPoint, the show where we talk about this week's episode of CheckPoint, as well as various other pieces of gaming news, because there's lots of news that doesn't get into a particular episode of CheckPoint for whatever reason, either because we couldn't think of any joke for it, or because there was one story that took up a lot of time.
You know how it is.
I was surprised we did any other stories in that episode, to be honest.
I was thinking that I would just not write any stories this week because I'm like, what's the point? There is no other story this week.
So yeah, this we're not gonna rehash the whole thing with the Blizzard Activision story right now. Graham covered it very well in the episode, and if you want to get more details on the whole thing, the filing is available for you to read. Although I caution you that it is some pretty heavy duty reading, which into itself indicates what a nasty story this is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went over stuff, and the stuff we didn't go over, severe content warnings for, so maybe don't go deeper. You already know they're terrible. What more do you need to know?
And like, to be honest, when I saw this story, like I just saw the headline of this story, I was kind of like, okay, sure, another one of these
AAA companies.
Ubisoft has a buddy now, or whatever.
Publicly, anyway.
Yeah, but the extent of the allegations against them this time are quite a bit more severe. This is not just like, bad management practices or a not nice workplace at a sort of like, well, that's the industry just sucks, everyone sucks. This is substantial, which and the fact that they're actually being that this lawsuit is being brought by the state Department of Fair Employment and Housing indicate after a 2-year investigation indicates what kind of a serious thing this is.
Yeah, it isn't just somebody like one person who has said I have a problem and now they're going to have to try to afford a fight in court, and it isn't like a dozen people who said I have a problem and they're going to have to somehow get together and have a lawsuit. It's like a, a state commission. People have said, "Holy shit, this is an endemic problem. It needs to be tackled by infrastructure, by a bureaucracy."
Wow.
Like, wow,
It is
that's
a systemic problem.
yep.
Um,
At this point, are there any other problems in the
So-
world that aren't systemic at this point?
No, I'm pretty sure everything is kind of
I mean,
at a base level.
my computer
an
crashed
issue.
the other day. I don't know if that's like a systemic problem. It's more of a
Well, the
system problem.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different.
Well, set up
I would-
the
I would maybe say two things out of this is when stories like this pop up, because people need to really understand that it's not generally just one area. A lot of trauma stories start to come out, so be careful and take care of yourself on the internet while this is being so publicly discussed. Also, be aware of how your words sound, because I've seen a number of people say things like, "Oh, well, it's not just this company, or it's not just this company, and this is a bigger problem." You run the risk of being sounding dismissive, like, "Oh, well, that's everywhere. Oh, well, that's tradition," that kind of thing. And well, it should be noted that this is a bigger problem than just, hey, this company is incredibly awful, and if we got rid of them, then we would fix everything. You don't need to. You need to watch being dismissive about a thing like this, because it's still important.
It's worthwhile to acknowledge that this is there seems to be some exceptional nasty stuff going on. Using the word exceptional in the sense of over and beyond what is already not, obviously not a good culture.
like
Yeah.
superlative.
Worst thing you expect, which is saying something, because a lot of the times I expect pretty bad.
Yes, and yeah, I have the I saw some calls for a T-shirt with there could be two bad things at one, or whatever Graham's line at the end of the thing was.
Right.
Multiple things can be awful at the same time.
Yeah, multiple things can be awful
Yeah.
at the same time.
Never forget that. That's good advice. It's okay.
I will say
To-
though that I kind of feel bad lumping that the like Mario life-size Mario thing in with all the Activision stuff, because that's not
Yeah.
actually, like, it's silly, but it's not
Yeah.
bad. It's not like
Yeah.
bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh no.
It's expensive, but I think that's because it's a lot of Lego part. Like, I don't think they're taking a big cut off the top.
No,
I think it's
no.
also, it's just a billion Lego parts.
Yeah.
I mean, that was also a good chance to have a breather in between what was a very lengthy story, because, wow. What was, so the Mario thing, though, somebody made a
It's-
2-foot tall Mario? Is that what
So
was going on
there's
with that?
an organization, like, it's unofficial, but there's a organization that does that they're sort of Lego builders, and they make cool Lego things. And so they sort of made this Mario, and also like a 1-up or a growth mushroom thing. Life size, which is like 2 feet tall, which opens up a whole can of questions. Is that life size for Mario?
Okay, so Mario Odyssey came out, and there's New Donk City, where normal people walk around, and Mario is very much shorter than them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He's like waist
so
height.
2 feet tall doesn't seem that unrealistic.
Except it should be 3 feet tall if we're assuming that he's going to be coming in at a point that's about mid height on most people. Like 2 feet tall on a 5-foot person would mean that he's still not approaching their waist.
I feel like they made it
Okay.
as small as they could and still have it like look like a good size Mario. Because
Yeah.
of course every inch that they add to the size of this thing is adding, $50 worth of
There's
Fair.
there's
blocks.
also an engineering standpoint where how big can you build something in Lego under its own weight? It's like it's because it's like you can only build a wooden skyscraper so tall, and they did figure out that it's like, well, you can, by using laminated lumber, you can build much taller, because then the compressive strength and the tensile strength of wood
Okay.
is preserved in multiple directions, and they help support each other.
But
And it's like, so Lego is one of those things where James May did that.
Yeah, people
that,
have built houses.
Yeah, James May did that show where he was able to build, as Kia points out, a 2-story house out of Lego. But there was significant issues in how do we actually make this house out of Lego and make it something you can wander around in.
sure, but is this Mario filled in, or is this like an Easter rabbit situation where you think you get a solid rabbit, but
Oh.
it's really empty on the inside?
Like all of us, really, Mario kind of embodies the
go.
zeitgeist of humanity.
I knew you'd go there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They didn't talk in the article, I don't think, too much about whether he's being built as an exoskeleton, or whether he's actually a solid object.
Wait, exoskeleton. Wait,
for-
does he have a skeleton inside made of Lego? This
Everybody
sounds
has a
really.
skeleton inside them. I mean,
Yeah, but my skeleton isn't made of Lego.
mm,
It's made of dark magic, and I want to know if Lego Mario's skeleton is made of Lego or dark magic.
probably just Lego. I think he's an
Uh,
inanimate object.
787 pieces.
Wow.
Is how big he is. So yeah, anyway, this is an organization called Bricker Builds that make their thing. And so and they also, there's like a company that sells like bulk Lego bricks. So I feel like this is not that much more expensive than just what 4,787 blocks costs.
And therefore, I mean, I say the fact that it's like, it's not official. Like, it's not, when I say it's not real, what that was meant to be like is that this is not an official Lego product.
Okay.
It's not endorsed by
bundled.
Nintendo or affiliated with
Right.
Nintendo or anything.
Exactly. So it's not like, and it's, which is, then it's weird too, because it's like, it's very close to the birthday cakes you could buy at the grocery store, where you could ask for them to put Mario on the cake, but they couldn't show you a picture of what that would look like because they didn't actually buy the rights to like put Mario on a cake. So you had to basically say, "Hey, can you put Super Mario on my child's cake?" And they'd be like, "Well, it's listed by name in the book that yes, that's something we can put in there." And you get it, and it's like
Slightly off.
well, let's not. That's generous.
Oh, come on.
Let's not sugarcoat this any more than a
But
cake
it's a
already is.
cake.
It's
So much sugar.
yeah. It's so I think that could, you could make the case that it's like they haven't bought the rights to Mario's image, so they're saying, like, you can make this thing, and here's a picture of what it would look like when completed, and yet it's still ultimately like a fan work.
I
But
mean, you say that, but I've been to those
Oh.
t-shirt kiosks, which definitely have those images ready for you to print, and there's no way they've purchased those licenses.
Hey,
yeah.
hey Beach, for next
Well.
Desert Bus, they also have life-size Eevee.
Oh, good.
It's only 2,000 parts.
I was like, inexplicably the same size as Mario, which is just like, we could get Mario riding an Eevee in the next game instead of Yoshi.
Well, I mean, if we're only gonna pay for the materials to make the thing, we can definitely cut out the labor costs because we'll be the labor.
Yeah, it's fair.
So let's talk about other stuff that we've doing. And speaking of, I guess the Eevee is a pet, and you can pet things.
Okay.
In Ghost of Tsushima, Tsushima.
Tsushima.
Yeah.
Ghosts of Sushi. It's when you don't eat the sushi properly and it haunts you.
Okay, Paul, you think that's a joke, but let me tell you about Sushi Strikers, where literally the ghosts of fish become sushi spirits, and then you fight with them, and you eat sushi in that game, and it's very weird. This
Can
is
you?
not a lie. I'm not making this up.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that you were making that. Can you pet animals in that?
No.
But these
Well then.
sushi ghosts themselves look like kind of like animal.
It's very Pokemonish.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, previously, you could only pet
Foxes
the
initially.
foxes, and then they added petting dogs. But now in this new expansion, the Iki Island expansion, which or the director's cut, which adds these Iki Island, you can pet cats, and you can pet deer, and you can pet monkeys, which is apparently something that you should try to do in the wild.
It's bad that they're going to give small children who are playing this M-rated game. I'm assuming it's M-rated. I don't just because you don't play as a cartoon. I'm assuming games are just M-rated.
Well, there's a lot of death in it.
Small child, if you're a samurai and you go to a watering hole and you play your flute in order to entrance in order to gain the friendship of an animal, do not do it with a monkey.
Also, like the fact that it
is rated M.
monkey petting in the game, that definitely to me is like that earns its M rating at that point.
It's not rated M for monkey petting,
yeah.
but that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's rated M for intense violence, which I'm like, thus the monkey petting goes right with it.
Yeah,
that's what happens after the monkey petting.
Generally, there's like a footnote that would be like dash monkeys.
So largely, this and to be clear, the director's cut, because when I was reading this, I was like, DLC is a thing. This is interesting. No, the director's cut is not available as a DLC add-on to the previous game. The director's cut is a new edition of the game for PS4 and PS5, which I believe currently, if you were to get the game and run it on your PS5, get the original Ghost of Tsushima and run it on your PS5, it's like it runs very smooth, but it's ultimately the PS4 game then, obviously. And this is like, no, this is now us making this game
right
to run on the PS5.
And they're fencing it up for PS5 a little bit, I think, too.
Yeah. I mean, they would. It's part of the reason you're probably getting a director's cut, but it's also director's cut is the new name that they're using for essentially Game of the Year edition or this other thing, except it's more like it's like Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal.
That's actually, I think, a much more apt comparison, where it's like we have added things to this game that you cannot buy in a DLC. Excuse me, cannot buy in a DLC pack. So this is this case of we have made a newer version of this game. It runs much nicer on the newer hardware. It looks amazing on the newer hardware, and also we added some stuff into it to help you feel like you should also be playing this again. Thus, Iki Island and the advanced petting.
Yeah, because to be clear, Game of the Year stuff is generally the DLC and whatnot too.
I feel like there is. I'm pretty sure there's other things other than just the petting animals.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
but really, who cares about that other stuff?
Ultimately, and everything I've told you about petting a monkey and monkeys in general is absolutely true, and don't listen to what James tells you.
Does James like monkeys?
Yes. James had a monkey hoodie for many years that he eventually had to get rid of because it was incredibly worn out, and people get very sad about that. I should say, no, I'm sorry, people don't. Loading Ready Run fans as a specific group. I shouldn't say people in the general. I should be like a very specific group of people who've been around since season 1.
I thought
are sad that James had to get rid of that hoodie.
I thought when James got rid of that hoodie, we made him go through a ritual of having to hate monkeys as well. Or did I make that up?
You might have made that up.
I don't think James necessarily advocates the petting of monkeys.
Maybe not.
I think you can.
He thought it was weird that I didn't like them.
You can like monkeys from afar. Like, I think monkeys are cool.
Yeah, I mean, I like rhinos, but I don't expect to go and pet one.
Ryzok asks, so we don't count as people now, Beej? Not at all, Ryzok. You are what I refer to as thralls.
Netflix
Yeah.
is a thing that, and apparently they want to do games.
I'm
And to be clear, because some people actually were in the YouTube comments were asking about this, and this is not they're going to be renting you games GameFly style. They want to make their own games with presumably, or I think they've actually said with their various original properties.
okay.
Starting with mobile games. What I like about the press release for this is it's like they've been very successful with the Black Mirror Bandersnatch and like Minecraft story mode and the uh on was it the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt uh like choose your own adventure thing, and it's like, yeah, those are cool, but those aren't really games in the sense that you guys are talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are like DVD
Oh,
alternate
yeah,
angle
yeah,
things.
yeah. Minecraft did that, and I think Carmen Sandiego's got one that I haven't checked out yet.
Yep.
Uh,
I think it's cool.
Didn't Netflix? Did they not bankroll the what was that game that was based on the puppets?
Witcher?
Not Witcher. The like Froggle puppet type thing. The dark crystal shard.
Sorry, the reboot of the
Oh,
Dark Crystal.
Yeah, it had a game that was promoted as part of coming out but they shut
I don't know if
down.
they were involved with that.
It was
Also,
like a tactics game of some kind.
Froggle puppets.
I knew she meant Fraggle Rock at that point. I was like, so this is some sort of Muppet related thing, but I'm like, what if
I didn't want to actually give it like Fraggle Rock or like Muppets, because I was like, that will make you only think of that and not like the thing that I'm trying to get you to think of.
And I'm just like, is there like was there a rhythm game based in Fraggle Rock? Is that what's going on here?
Is there?
No, there isn't.
Oh.
There should be.
Unbreakable Kermit Schmidt.
Oh.
This is.
Can you have like oh man, you can have like a builder, like a bridge simulator type builder thing with the doozers. Fraggle Rock, that'd be so good.
Yeah. Kind of that portal bridge constructor. They need bridge constructor doozer. That's what they need.
I mean, there's bridge constructor everything else.
Exactly. It's the presence of so Netflix saying we're going to make our own game studio and then we're going to just Graham I think really got it. It's like, why let someone else pinch off a garbage mobile game when you can bungle it yourself and make better money off of it? And I'm like, that's a very hard premise to argue with. That yes, it's just probably even better for the industry as a whole if they have to just pay for a couple of years of trying to make a video game, not realize why you can't just do that, and save a whole bunch of other tiny studios the hassle of having to work for a company that doesn't understand how this shit works.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Netflix pays some of the subtitling companies, or the not the subtitling, the
captioning,
the voice acting companies to redub things like Cardcaptor Sakura and like things that are really weird to listen to.
That are Netflix originals, yes.
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about them making a game.
And
their localizations are strange in anime.
And there's been like Stranger Things games, I know, which is a Netflix original series. So it might be like how much this is like Netflix actually spinning up their own studio, and how much it is them like just like working really closely with an existing studio to sort of collaborate on something. Who knows? But
well, I guess with Stranger Things, they might have just sold the license to let somebody make the game.
Probably.
And
that's probably
might be
what
more
happened.
of them paying somebody to make the game, or making a studio or something. I don't know if they'd go all the way to making their own studio.
That would be funny to start. It would be funny if the assumption was that, well, we are because if we ride this extrapolation, it actually makes sense. Because if you think of what Netflix has been doing, is they started with the idea of that, well, there's a company where you can go borrow a DVD from, But what if we just got in the way and said, you can just borrow the DVDs from us without having to leave your house? And then as that went on, they're like, well, when we can stream this to people, you can borrow these things without even having to wait for them to show up in the mail, that kind of idea. And so they've always kind of been like, we're trying to intercede faster and faster into somebody's experience. And then when it came to like, well, we don't want to even wait on the companies that make the content to sell us the content or to rent us the content so we can rent it out to our viewers. We're just going to start making the content ourselves that we can sell direct to our viewers or rent directly to our viewers. And so then all the tie-in stuff, like people keep mentioning the Stranger Things game and stuff like that. And it's like, so for them to be like, well, then we started making all these tie-ins, but now we're waiting on these companies to make the tie-in product so that they can sell it. And that idea of that, well, what if we could just get there ahead of time and be like, what if we're the ones who are just making the games that go along with the stuff that we're making? That's I think what is the idea here, where they're like, we can just do this ourselves. We've proven we can do it in these other ways every single time.
I somewhat disagree with you, but I do agree with you. The idea that we don't want to wait for other people to make content. I think it's much more, we wanted to make our own content because it makes people have to come to our streaming service.
Oh no, that's definitely true.
And in this case, if we already own the rights to our content, and instead of selling the rights to someone else, we can make more money if we pay other people to make the thing rather than the waiting thing. I don't think waiting is an issue for them.
And then from what I understand, Netflix apparently hasn't actually been doing that. There was a thing that came up just a little while ago that their last quarter results were not good.
No, they've been losing some viewers because everyone has realized what I've been saying for years, which is that and I have been saying this for years, is that the cable cutting phenomenon, while great because it gets you out of that whole, like, I have to spend $215 to buy a package full of stuff that I don't watch, means that people are like, I'll just buy Netflix and everything will come to Netflix, until every other media conglomerate in the world realizes, what if we just made our own streaming service and then charged everybody accordingly for that, driving cable companies out of business, or turning it into pipes only, that their only jobs to be a delivery system and not to actually like do any sort of curation. And thus, therefore, making everyone start paying $200 a month again because you have to buy stuff through a dozen different goddamn services.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely, a lot of streaming services exist now. Those places like Disney, Marvel stuff used to go to Netflix very regularly. Doesn't have to now because they got Disney Plus. So which one do you actually want to buy? Because if you sign up for all of them, you're paying actually kind of more than you might be for cable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the entrance of Disney Plus into the market is the big gorilla.
It's definitely a destabilizer.
Because I mean, the big thing with Disney is that, unlike Netflix and Amazon, I think almost everything on Disney they actually own. Like, Disney's catalog is so huge. So you don't have the problem with Netflix where it's like, oh, there's, the first and third of this movie, and next week it's gone. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
You only have the issue of if they're currently broadcasting something on like Disney Toon or whatever their Disney channels are on TV, they might not bring that to Disney Plus right away because there's still that thing of we don't want to take away from our cable channels.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you also have like some region stuff, so it's like aggravating to watch them talk about how Owl House is totally available in Canada and it's not.
We had to wait months for it to actually get season 2 to come here, and even for season 1.
I don't think season 2's on there.
I don't think it is either.
No, I don't think we get it until they're fully done.
Meanwhile, cue people in the chat being like, well, it's available where I am, and I'm like, yes, we are in Canada and it is not where you are.
I mean, it sounds like you have a lot of anger about that. And so what you can do is break a bunch of electronics. Okay, first go to the UK. then
I
break
see.
a bunch of electronics.
I'm not gonna lie, Paul. I've watched so many YouTube videos that have like a VPN sponsor that I really thought you were gonna talk about how we had a VPN sponsor all of a sudden.
Ah,
NordVPN. Yeah. No, if you go to the UK, or if you already live there, Electrical Direct, which is, I think, is like just a like an electronics retailer, like Best Buy or something here.
which to me I thought was the actual public utility,
Yeah, I thought it was a public, like a electric.
like BC Hydro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
But
first.
anyway,
But they are doing a thing called demolition therapy, where they set up a bunch of already broken electronics, but presumably not like visibly broken, I guess.
yeah.
Non-functional electronics. And then you can smash them for it's £50 for 30 minutes, I think, for you and a friend to smash things.
Yeah.
I like that they let you bring a friend.
That terrifies me, the idea that you might be in your gamer rage state, and you might accidentally identify the person, the other body in the room as the red mist
Okay.
sets in. You might think that the other person in the room is trying to kill steal, and you end up beating the shit out of each other with axes.
I want so first, you keep referring to this gamer state thing that
Doesn't exist.
that you're gonna be in
Yeah.
to go and do this thing. Does that mean that part of like that? Do they have like a service beforehand that maybe you have to pay a little extra for, where you can play an aggravating game to get you in the right mindset to go and destroy things? Or are you expected to kind of do that on your own at home and then try and travel there and not have the cooling off period happen in time so that you can destroy things? Or are you just one of those people that once you start destroying, you can just keep going?
I think it's largely this is the reason why the Steam Deck was invented, so people could actually game.
Oh,
on
so you
the
could
go
play,
all the way to
like in the lead up to it, you could be like,
yeah.
okay, I'm sufficiently mad now. Let's do this.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay. So until now, people only had the Switch currently to take on the bus
Mhm.
because no one plays anything else anymore. And but now with the Steam Deck, people will have all the aggravation of PC gaming type things that they can take with them.
Yeah.
And hopefully put in a locker and not accidentally smash amongst a bunch of other consoles.
The I
Take the bus if
I
you're going to
also
do
feel
that
like
for,
I feel
for
like
several
half
reasons.
an hour
Or the
seems like a
tube.
long time.
What do they have over there?
It does.
I feel like,
Right?
I mean, maybe I feel like I would be sort of like, okay, I'm kind of done all the smashing I want to do after like 15 minutes. Like it's like I'm just tired now.
That might be that you book off 30 minutes and then when you're partway through it, you're kind of like because you're in the first 5 minutes, you're probably gonna okay, let's be honest. In the first 60 seconds of being furious at something, right? And if I kind of pass like if we were gonna make a curve for how this is gonna work, is that you're gonna arrive and people from the UK being more reserved people in terms of emotional expression, they're going to show up and be like, "There's this thing in front of me, and I'm paying to break it,
So
but I
yeah,
have 30 minutes."
There's going to be like a ramp up.
Right? They got to kind of get into the mood of it, and they're going to grab that hammer or whatever and be like, and they'll put the hammer down and they'll pick the thing up itself, and they'll like drop it. They won't smash it. They'll just like drop it, and they'll be like, okay, and then they'll pick it up again, and then maybe they'll actually throw it, and we'll start to see that meter climb, right? And then they'll be like, now I'll grab the hammer and I'll start beating it. My buddy and I will be over in the corner smashing an Xbox like we're pounding the fucking mochi, and it just and it'll escalate. But after about 7 minutes, the haze will dissipate because you'll realize that you've been going to fucking town, and you'll get tired. And now you'll have to take a little time to think about this weird thing you've just done and maybe deal with the shame of it and then feel comfortable because you're like, well, it's not really I have to be convinced by somebody off stage that escape room wise that you have to hit a button. They'll be like, no, it's okay. You're not stuck. You just need to bust things a little bit more, and then in 30 minutes we'll let you out of the room. And they're like, okay. And so then they go back to doing stuff.
At that point, it's just
Very
like
complicated.
Yeah, there's a certain point where like you're in the room and you're just like breaking all this stuff seems like a lot of work. Do I have to break everything in here?
It's like, well, break enough stuff so that you can figure out the combination to get out. And it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I can probably do that. It's like a weird kind of fucked up version of Saw when you think about it.
I saw in the comments for the original story on this, I saw a couple of people being like sure they're broken electronics, but like there's lots of parts in broken electronics that could be useful for other things. Could I just pay $50, go in and just like grab a bunch of like, old Xboxes and, get some like Switch controllers. Maybe you can fix your controller drift on some you have at home.
Right?
Like, can I just grab a bunch of stuff? I'd be like, and it's like, from the perspective of the people running the thing, that stuff is destroyed in the sense that they don't have it anymore.
Am I allowed to take what I break? Is that instead of like you have to pay for what you break it, you buy it?
I feel like it
can
should
I
be
take
allowed.
what I break?
It should be allowed.
So if I break very gently, I can just take it.
I love the idea of
It's
just
mine
letting Ian go in there with a bunch of like security bits and just being like, I have 30 minutes to do what I want in this room, and it's going to be systematically take these things apart, which itself would be real fucking creepy to be like, it's demolition therapy, but this guy's come in with a scalpel and he's spudging shit apart.
No, you bring up an excellent point though. Instead of well, all of this stuff is broken, so I can just take it.
Yeah.
If they can only keep it because it's broken, because maybe it's not broken enough, it can go to the next person.
Right.
If you fix it and it's not broken anymore, does that mean you can take it with you?
Well, it would be a waste otherwise.
I just realized, you remember that show Junkyard Wars?
Yeah.
Where they have like two teams that like run to the junkyard and have to like build a thing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a thing where it's just like we need to get like, I don't know, whatever the UK equivalent of Linus Tech Tips or something, It's like build a computer with this crap in this room that's all broken computer bits.
See what you can get together as fast as possible.
Scrap Heap Challenge is what it was called with the original. I think that was the original version in the UK, and then when they brought it over to the States, it was Junkyard Wars because it has to be war.
Yeah,
now
that's true.
Now we could line up this idea with your escape room thing of
Right.
of like find the right thing to destroy in order to get whatever parts you need in order to build the thing that will let you escape.
Ah, yes.
I feel like we may be overestimating the quality of the stuff in this room to break.
Oh, definitely.
Anyway.
I largely my pivot point on this story was in their trailer where they said that the part where they literally say, bust up an old console because you're mad that you can't get the new one. And I just stopped.
It's like
I ground to a halt.
That's not the old console's fault.
No, exactly.
I think that's a brilliant line to put in there, even though it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, because you're like, there's no person on the planet that must think that they're like, I own a thing that I need to destroy because I'm mad that I wasn't able. And it's kind of like, it's like, I'm mad that I can't pet a monkey, so I'm going to kick this monkey off a bridge. That's some fucked up stuff to do. It's not the monkey's fault that they're an asshole.
Well,
actually, wait, maybe it is.
That might not be the perfect analogy you're going for. Your car one, I think, might have been a little bit closer. It's not like you bring in your own console and you beat up on it. You're gonna be beating up on an already broken one. But I think it's that idea of personally, I don't get mad when I can't get the new console.
Yeah.
At most, maybe I'd get like a little sad that I
get sad.
couldn't get the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like if you want to direct your anger at anything, it's scalpers.
Yeah.
More than
I feel
more
like
than a console.
the anger would be directed at like, scalpers or whatever Sony or Microsoft who make the thing, being like, why didn't you make more? It certainly wouldn't be directed at my previous console that's always been there when I needed it.
That's still there for you while you're waiting.
It's there to support you in your time of need.
We can't have scalper therapy. We can't let you go into a room with a bunch of guys with like fucking trench coats
No,
on.
of course you
Like,
can't.
you want to buy something, and you take his head off with a knife.
No, of course not. That's
where
Anyway.
that's
that
what
is
video
not
games
where
are
we're
for.
not advocating that, and I'm definitely not advocating any other kind of thing towards people, because I constantly see it where people don't understand the 5 PS5s video was a joke.
Yeah.
And they keep calling Paul a scalper, and I'm like, all of those PS5s have a really good home,
Yeah. They all went to
including
a
the
farm
extra
upstate.
ones that we gave away.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do have a computer and it's up to date and you're excited about getting Humankind on it, but you're kind of bummed that it's going to have de novo copy protection, which this particular edition, or has, at least in the beta, was revealed to cause serious performance issues. Specifically relate. I mean, there's been a lot of back and forth about like whether this kind of copy protection affects the performance. In this case, it was a clear yes, it does.
Yeah.
And the some people got complained to the company in their forums, and the company was like, you know what, that's fair. We think we could spend the time, like we think there's some optimizations we can do to reduce the performance problems with using the de novo copy protection. But at the end of the day, is it worth us spending that time to do it versus spending that time on other things making the game better? Maybe it isn't. So maybe we'll just not use that.
It's worth reading the article. I think this is an Ars Technica piece. It's worth reading the article about this because, yeah, it does get into a lot more details that as is our right as a video game comedy news show, we gloss over some points
Well,
sometimes to make the joke,
especially in the coming up.
right? You don't have a lot of time, and what is fascinating is that it's like they are saying to the people, Amplitude is saying to fans, it's like we had to put this in because there is a sense that when a new game comes out, you have not even days, you have hours in which you can sell your game before someone might crack it. It might even be 0 day. The moment it comes out, it's already been cracked.
Or negative days.
Exactly. And it's like the crack exists and it's a week early, and it's like, how did that even happen? It's like, because the industry. And there are people who work in the industry who are getting very good bribes. And so this is one of these things where they're saying, we're going to release this without this DRM code in it. We are counting on you as the fans. Please buy this game. Because otherwise we stand a very good chance of not being able to make money back on it. And I think that I feel like we live in an environment now where even saying that might not be enough to engender the kind of goodwill among people to be like, I will totally go buy this game from you because I understand you're trying to do the right thing here by giving us a game that's working properly.
I mean, I feel like the people who are invested in on your forums are really not the people who are going to be pirating it anyway, though.
I would hope not. I would think not. I mean, it's like, what was it? Like earlier this week, there was a story that was like, PSA, beware of the Neo, The World Ends With You spoilers, because that game got leaked by Square.
Yeah, a week early.
This
is interesting.
So from what I understand, they if you had pre-ordered the game from Square's website, you were supposed to get like a pre-order bonus thing of like some digital extras or whatever, and the codes that they gave out by accident actually gave people a copy of the digital game fully.
Yeah. A DLC expansion, whatever, or bonus things was.
I think it's just outfits or something.
Yeah, it's like, it also is technically a full digital copy of the game.
Yeah. They fixed that very quickly.
I bet.
But it's still like a few people, anybody who managed to redeem their codes before they fixed it, I think still has the game or got the game. So it was just kind of like, it's generally when I hear about, oh, this game got leaked early, it's like, oh, somebody had the game was like up for pre download, and somebody like did something to make it like let them access it, and this was like, no, the company that sells the game accidentally gave it to people.
Yeah.
Whoops.
And I think this is interesting that it was like the story with Amplitude and Denuvo and Humankind, where fans are like, God, we don't want this, we really don't want this, and then there were some more polite people being like, could you at least launch the game with it and then in a few weeks
Take it off.
pull it out?
Which is something
Just
that people have done.
Yeah. We'd like can you just commit to doing that so that we can all buy the game right now, and then it doesn't, which to me is then odd in a way, because it sounds to me then like what you're saying is that I want to buy this thing and I want to buy it and own it and maybe be able to start it up or whatever, but it's like I bought a thing in a clear box that I can't touch or don't want to touch because of the DRM package that I'd have to install in order to do whatever. So I have this thing in a clear box, and I know that in 3 weeks I'm going to very much enjoy interacting with it.
That's called a pre-order.
But it's kind of is, and yet it's also not, because it reminds me of when I was a child, because I did a lot of things when I was younger as opposed to done nothing being older, because I'm not there yet. And for my birthday, I wanted a Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at Costco, and they were like $150, which was way cheaper than we were going to find them anywhere else. And I told my parents, I'm like, can I please get this? And I think I even had some money I could put towards it. And I'm like, I want this for my birthday. Can you guys buy it for my birthday? And I will give you some money back for it. My parents are like, that's not how gifts work. And I'm like, you don't understand. I don't want a fucking shirt for my birthday. I don't want something that costs $15. I want this. And I have money, but I don't have all the money. I'm just asking you to put my entire next 10 goddamn birthdays towards this. I don't care. I want this. And they're like, but also it's June? Your birthday isn't until July. And I'm like, I don't care if we buy it, because we didn't live in a town that had a Costco. It was a 3-hour trip. It's there and back. It's 3 hours and 3 hours back. It's like, I don't care if we buy this thing and it goes in your closet for 3 weeks. I can deal with that. I can deal with the fact that I've just bought a video game that I'm not going to play for 3 weeks until it is ready for me to have it. So I can understand this idea of, I'll buy a copy of Humankind and then not run it until you release the patch that takes Denuvo out, and then I will run it.
I want to point out to anyone who thinks Beach as a child would never actually do this, but I've known Beach for a very long time. He won't even accept the idea of that we should open like even one Christmas present the day before.
Yeah, no.
He's not fun.
Hardline Christmas present person.
I had
so harsh.
I had a my birthday gift from my parents was sitting on my dresser, and it was wrapped and sitting there for like a week, and I didn't even go near it for weeks. Actually, I think it had been there before I actually opened it up. And so the ending to that story, though, is that my parents did indeed buy that Super Nintendo, and we did go home, and my dad just was like, you know what, just here. And I'm like, that's fine, I'll put it in my closet then. And he's like, no, just open it.
See?
And you're like, no, thing, I don't deserve it until my birthday.
If it's not designated for a specific day, he will not.
And they're like, no, just open it, because you know what you're getting, and there's no sense in whatever. And I'm like, there was every sense in whatever. But okay, thank you, that's awesome, I will do the thing. And I got to play it like a week early, and it was fine.
Right.
Or 2 weeks early.
In terms of piracy, there's always going to be the arguments of things like, well, people who are going to pirate are going to pirate, which is true to an extent.
Yeah.
There's also the argument to be made that if getting the thing is better when it's not from the actual company, because they add things like this, you may be driving people to piracy. If it's more convenient to get it from the company, a lot of people are just like, whatever, I'll just pay for it. So there's like that. There's there's definitely a contingent of people who are going to pirate no matter what. They already know how to do those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's going to be the middle ground where you're going to sway them either way depending on what you do, and then there's going to be the other people who just don't care and eventually will buy it, maybe.
I mean,
Right.
Denuvo's sort of the messaging has sort of changed in recent times to not that Denuvo is unbreakable, but it will stop your game from being cracked within the first little while.
Yeah.
And that's when most of your sales happen, so that's fine. And so the principle is basically like the idea is basically it's going to be cracked after, you know, a couple weeks anyway. So by that point you might as well remove the Denuvo thing and everyone gets a sudden performance increase for free.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I wonder where I'm like, why not just have it open for pre-order then and let people buy it, and then that will be because then
Why-
people who are going to buy it are going to buy it. I guess.
Why wouldn't it be open for pre-order?
I don't know. Sometimes some games aren't open
There
for
are
pre-order.
games that don't do pre-orders?
Yeah. There's because some people just get upset about the idea of having to put money down in the first place to buy a thing because then they don't have it yet. But it's like,
Yeah, but that's never stopped a video game company from doing anything before.
yeah. I feel like if I keep this going, we'll just end up talking in circles. Because I feel like I've already started the next circle, and I should stop.
Yeah, okay.
I'll stop.
hey,
Where are we going, Paul?
walking in circles.
Nice.
Because the latest or my new favorite Breath of the Wild speedrun is
So
a
little
speed
left,
run
don't touch
that somebody did of Zelda Breath of the Wild without stepping in the same spot twice. So they didn't cross themselves ever.
That's an important part.
Gotta trust
So
yourself.
I actually have here. You can see that they did it. There's like the mode where it tracks everywhere you went.
Mhm.
So this is the map that ended up being. Apparently, there's a lot of spirals that they had to go through.
And now here's the other thing about this too is that the limitation was, they had to activate every tower,
right,
and not every shrine, mind you. And they could, I guess, they could still visit
but they
shrines
couldn't
if
just
they
go
needed to.
straight to Ganon at the.
Exactly. So it's like you have to. And that's the thing where people are like, "Why not just do the launchy thing and go wee?" And it's like you could do that if you wanted to. If you're that good, awesome. Get hard. But this was I have to touch every tower, and you're like, well, there's got to be a much more direct route. You could just run straight lines, couldn't you? And it's like, well, you can't because you don't have enough. You don't have enough stamina to be able to run direct routes. In some cases, you're gonna have to go around certain things. And what I thought was very funny from the comments is people are like, "This took 8 months? They're fucking sucking
right.
video games." And I'm like, and they had to restart 6 times. I could do this in my sleep with my other hand on my dick, and it's kind of like, yeah, great, good job, guys.
I don't like your gamer character.
Well, my gamer care is an idiot.
Yeah, they shouldn't be allowed on the show anymore.
Yeah, and it's like this took time because it probably wasn't the only thing this person was doing in their life, but also, yeah, they had to like plan out multiple times to be like, if you go to the Nintendo Life article, the first image is not the cool map that Paul put up. It was a map that was like looked like they had drawn out potential routes to be like, what if I do this, but then what if I go this way? And as the player discovered, is I forget her name, Esther something, I can't remember, Easter, I can't remember what it is, but as they discovered, there's parts of the game that the topology will actually make you walk over top of.
Everest.
Discovered that there are parts of the game where you might end up accidentally crossing over yourself just because of the nature of how things work, like the Temple of Time. They went through the front door of the Temple of Time and then realized that you have to climb up to the top of the Temple of Time and like stand up above. And they're like, when you do that, you actually cross over the spot where they're.
And if you die, and the game sends you back to a specific spot, you cross over as well because it keeps the trail.
Yeah, so you don't even get to die and save scum because it remembers that you were in a location, and so it draws a direct line back to where
you have to
where you're coming back from.
You have to do this in one go without dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they actually reset. Yeah, it did reset 6 times or something.
It also means you're probably not going to be able to teleport because you can only teleport to places you've been.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you're gonna
absolutely cross what you ended up doing.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting challenge to do. I like the idea of like someone being like, okay, well, I pulled out a map and I tried to plan some routes and stuff, and trying to do a thing that's different in this game that I haven't done before, because it's not that unusual to come up with your own challenge idea for a video game. It's why we have things like Nuzlocke and such.
All right, and the so the upcoming EA Sports golfing title, EA Sports PGA Tour, is also going to incorporate a bunch of the stuff from the LPGA, the Ladies Professional Golf Association, including so they're adding a bunch of or they're basically, because the whole thing with this is they've got the licenses and everything so that they have like the exact courses on the PGA Tour down to like where the trees are on the course, right? So these are like the exact courses, and so they're also doing that for the LPGA Tour, which has different courses, and the courses are set up differently, and things like that. So, so they've apparently been working with they worked with a bunch of different professional golfers and broadcasters to make sure that it matches what the the differences between the men's game and the women's game and stuff. So it's we know that the women's golf is not the same as men's golf. We wanted to take the same approach in partnering with the PGA as with the LPGA, which includes involvement of female professional athletes and professionals to amplify the authenticity of women's golf and female golfers in the EA Sports PGA Tour.
Now, the last time that they did Ladies PGA was 2014 in the Tiger Woods PGA Tour game, where they had some LPGA involvement. They had an LPGA tour set up, I think, within the game, and you could play as you could play as a female avatar on all the male courses. And I don't know if it actually let you golf from the ladies box. I don't know if it lets you if it actually had different setups for how the LPGA courses are set up. It definitely did not have any specific LPGA courses set up for you to play on. And so because I was like, oh, well, okay, well, they've done it before. I'm like, yeah, but that was 7 years ago. So this is kind of a big deal that it's like this got dropped or removed or wasn't concentrated on, and all of a sudden they're back with why isn't this part of the game? Why isn't this something we can include in the game to begin with? 7 years to get back to this.
And yeah, so it's so they're adding courses that are not part of the PGA. Apparently the Evian Resort Golf Club in Evian-les-Bains, France, which is part of the LPGA, is going to be added to it, as well as some other stuff. So should be a super cool idea. I like it.
Yeah.
In other sports game news, Pro Evolution Soccer is no more.
Forget it.
It has evolved out of being a thing.
Oh, are we going to
Pro Evolution Soccer is now eFootball.
Oh.
God, that sucks.
Electronic football?
It's a terrible... Didn't Mattel used to make that?
Yeah, which definitely sounds like, a thing, like a Tiger Electronics thing that's like the shape of a football, like an American football, that you like try to get like the penalty kick.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, the E stuff, like the small E prefix, I feel like that was like pre the small I prefix. Like that
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
like
it's a very
that was
old.
like late 90s, early 2000s as a prefix. Anyway, it's going to be free to play. It's not a mobile game. They're actually like it is going to be a real thing. It looks pretty like it does look legitimately cool. It's developed by it's going to be they're switching over to Unreal Engine instead of using the Fox engine, which is the weird thing about Pro Evolution Soccer is for the longest time it's been using the Fox engine, which was the engine developed for Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. It's Konami, so just so everybody understands.
No, that means that you know what he's gonna do in his retirement.
Yeah. It's funny to think of the fact that holy shit, Konami's making a video game.
Yeah. But eFootball isn't even just a game. It is
No?
a all new football simulation platform.
Okay.
Um,
What does that mean?
that
This
means
has that shades of EA marketing speak.
so basically it's free to play because they're like delivering it as like modules. It seems to be so like you'll get the thing, but it's so it's got the new engine, and then you can do local matches, and you can do like PS5 can play PS4, and Xbox can play Xbox One.
Right.
Local, so you could do local matches using renowned clubs is going to be the first thing in early autumn. This is the roadmap anyway, and then in later autumn, they're going to be releasing online league mode, name to be determined, team building mode, name to be determined, cross-platform matches,
Name to be determined.
and the match pass system. And then in the winter, they're going to be doing esports tournaments, kickoffs, cross-platform between mobile and consoles, and also mobile consoles with controller, like mobile devices, controller support and stuff. So it's the idea is they're going to be bringing it out in these sort of modules,
Right.
and they haven't said in terms of money and stuff, but they're putting this stuff being like, so this way, it's free to play for like the base thing, and then you can make whatever game you want, presumably, and so
Still
like
soccer.
but it's like whichever components you want, you can like I don't know, pay $10 per thing and sort of
Right.
have a version of the game that has these like 3 different abilities, which like I don't know, seems like maybe that like could work, but I feel like it might feel kind of weird.
I had assumed that when you said there was going to be module plugins that it would be like roster based.
I mean, there's going to be that too, I think, is that like it'll come with a certain number of
11 nameless dudes in blue and 11 nameless dudes in red.
here we go.
Okay.
Juventus, Bayern Munich, Manchester United, and Barcelona will be available for free to all players at launch.
Okay.
And they will be selling certain game modes as optional DLC. And presumably other clubs will be, DLC and stuff.
Are there optional coaches?
I mean, sports games, I don't really play a lot of video game sport games, but they always seem to be the kind of thing where they have a yearly release with basically an updated roster. Maybe they added a new game mode or something. So it doesn't seem that surprising that this is the route they're going.
So yeah, I think the idea with this sort of like platform thing is so that the idea is that this is sort of going to be like the thing that they can add new rosters and update it and stuff without actually releasing a whole new game, which might not be terrible.
It is the thing that I guess we asked for like a lot sports wise, where it's like, why are we always getting a new version of a game every year when you could just be doing roster updates for like a few years while you work on the new game?
Yeah. It's the free to play and microtransactions part that's going to make people pause because that's not exactly been done very
It's
consumer friendly in a long time.
this is one of those things where it's like it could be done well. It depends on how much you trust Konami to do it well. It could also be
that.
done very poorly.
I feel like sports fans are the kind of pedantic, joyless people who absolutely will. I'd love to say that because I largely don't think it. Who will
Sports
definitely
fans
pay
known for taking no joy in anything.
exactly right. That they're the kind of people who definitely will pay for not just roster updates but statistic updates. That it's like, oh, it's been the end of a season. I will pay an extra $5 to show that Steph Curry has been hitting more three pointers, or that
Right, yeah.
Lionel Messi had broke his leg and is only now only hops on one foot and still outperforms everybody on the pitch, like that kind of thing where it's like I can see those things where the fans will be like, hell yes, I'm paying $5 later this year for that upgrade, and I'm paying $10 next year for this other thing, and I'm paying another $10 for the new league expansion thing, and I'm paying this for that, and being like, and I will stay up on that shit over and over and over, and I'm like, that's I think if you have the courage as a sports game company to say this is how it's going to be for a 3-year stint or a 4-year stint, and what you'll be paying for year to year is the things that you actually want, I think people will be like, yeah, I can live that flight simulator lifestyle. I'm on board with this kind of idea.
Okay, so the thing is, okay, first of all, it's free to play, which is not necessarily a bad thing. That's a great way to get people to try your game out to see if they want to.
I mean, chat points out that in the sports game category, what it's competing against is $60 game that also has paid DLC. So
yes,
yeah,
and again, that's like having a free to play game is not necessarily a bad thing. Or sometimes the term free to start gets used. Nintendo likes to use that one where they're like the first part of the game is free, but it's really just a demo, and then you buy the rest of the game.
Yeah,
right. And
seems more truthful,
microtransactions.
Though. Yeah,
also on their base is not necessarily a negative, but they can be definitely made in a very negative way and often are. But I believe, Paul, you mentioned that there would be sports competitions and things that people could
leagues
play
and
in.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And if those are online based and you're playing against different players, then there comes a point where it's like, well, do the microtransactions unbalance the game in your favor at any point? Or also, are those going to be competitions where it's like, well, this is the year 2021 competition, so we expect that you are restricted to a roster that comes from the year 2021.
Yeah, you can only play in standard. You can't play in vintage.
There are definite ways to make this bad.
Are you going to be playing along and the other guy comes out and his like the football or the soccer ball is just like glowing red?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is not going to go well.
Hang on a second. It's funny too because like the who else has a free to play soccer game on the market? Well, it's EA, but it's FIFA Ultimate Team, and they figured out the problem of currently we're asking us football fans to pay money every year to get a whole bunch of information for brand new players. So they're basically to give them what they want. We're getting people to pay to give them what they want. How can we get people to pay so that we don't give them what they want? And this FIFA Ultimate Team wasn't created with nothing but gacha pulls.
So
it'd be like, yes, I want to be able to. I want that 5-star. Well, tough shit. You're gonna have to spend $150 before you can actually.
What
get
do they try to rebrand them as? Surprises.
Surprise mechanics.
Surprise mechanics. Yes.
Delight mechanics.
Delightful surprise mechanics. We all love those. Which is a shame, actually, because loot boxes, when you have like the loot box mechanic in a game that doesn't expect you to pay for loot boxes, that kind of thing is basically just your randomized drop rate, and that can be fun.
That's literally the balloons in Animal Crossing. Yeah. I had to liken it back to something I understood, Paul.
Speaking of somewhere where balloons could be.
Okay.
GTA Online is pushing out a new update that lets you have car meetups. I've seen enough Fast and Furious to know that there are lots of balloons
Yes, absolutely.
at
Wacky waving inflatable airplane too, guys.
underground car meets. Uh,
I brought the balloons.
No,
Thanks,
bad
Doug.
gamer, bad.
Thanks, Doug.
so there's a update for GTA Online that's adding the Los Santos car meet, which see, this is the part I don't get. It is a combat-free underground social hub where 30 players can gather and flaunt their prized vehicle. So the reason, like, I feel like I mark stories about like GTA Online and like Red Dead Redemption Online more often, just because I always find especially those two games. I mean, and GTA in particular, right? GTA stands for Grand Theft Auto.
Yep.
Right. And so there's this weird thing where this is a game in which the principal thing that you're doing in the game is criminal activity, right?
Okay.
But you can only do the criminal activity that's defined by the people who make the game.
Exactly.
And so when they're doing this online thing, it's like, yeah, you get to do all these. You can like do these car meets, and you can show off your cool car and stuff, and you can test drive vehicles, and then you can also do like races, and you can
but on test tracks, on designated
on
test
test tracks.
not in downtown. Yeah.
There's you can buy auto shops, and they're also can be used so they can like generate cash, and then you can also use them for tricking out your ride. And then there's also going to be the Los Santos Turners is the name of the expansion, and there's going to be
Tuners.
Tuners, sorry, yes.
Yes.
There's going to be there will also be like robbery missions and car meet races and pursuit series, which is a collection of races for 4 to 16 players, where you have to like race while the cops are chasing you and stuff, right? So it's like, I don't know. There's just something about this thing where it's like we have this car meet, but you can't steal any cars at the car meet. That's not allowed.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
And then
Paul,
we're gonna-
everyone there is assumably a thief. Are you saying that thieves have no honor?
Amongst themselves?
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Yeah. You're only allowed to steal cars in the designated car stealing areas.
What about work colleague
And-
professionalism?
Yes.
I know you're a car thief, so I don't steal the car that you've stolen already.
And then you can do all these like races, and then you can do the designated races where the cops are trying to take you out. But if you are doing one of the cop attacking you races, it's fine. Cops won't come after you.
Cops aren't going to give a shit at that point.
I mean, those are sanctioned. See, I feel like the solution in this world where everybody steals cars from one another, but not actually other people who are classified as car thieves, is and clearly they probably mark their cars. Is everyone just needs to become a car thief? You need to go down and register with the local thievery clan.
The Thieves Guild.
Yeah, the Thieves Guild.
Yep.
And then
Pay your dues.
everybody will be out of work because nobody will be able to thieve, and it'll be fine.
My favorite thing for GTA previous to this was they added a casino. This was like a year or two ago. They added a special casino area, where you could go in. Like, and the jokes we made on CheckPoint were just like, oh, usually, they have like microtransactions and like loot boxes and stuff to pretend and mess around with it. It's like, no, it's not gambling. It's like, no, this is an actual casino. You just gamble.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. But you're not allowed to. It's a no violence zone in the casino.
Yeah.
The casino is a nobody. You can't steal from anybody. It's just for fun. What that means is that the door of the casino was surrounded by people ganking people as they come out of the casino.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also killing the doorman over and over again because he was an NPC that kept reviving.
It's like you're allowed to do that there. It's like,
Oh man.
I'm
The
in this
door-
casino now and I can never leave.
The doorman doesn't get his own little no kill zone that he can safely do his work in.
Apparently
No.
not.
He's just the doorman.
That's why you need the union contract. You'd be
It's
like,
the most lethal job. And
yeah, can we get a no kill zone extended like 2 feet out from the building?
See, and
Hi,
I
I'm at my 3-month performance review, and I like your company a lot, but I keep dying, and I don't have insurance for that. Could I get like a no-kill zone just extended slightly around me? Can I just work in the building?
The thing is it's like though when you put a casino in GTA Online, it's like the part of the fun should be getting to heist the casino.
Well, and I think there is like I think they also did like a special like casino heist
Ah, okay, good.
as like a special event. But of course,
You don't even need violence to overthrow a casino. Like I've watched all the Ocean's movies, and I think I'm pretty knowledgeable at how to rob a casino now.
But the thing is, like, they do the like casino event heist or whatever, right? But
Yeah.
that doesn't actually affect the casino that everybody is like playing in, right? It's sort of like a weird because the casino that everyone's actually they don't want the casino that people are, actually engaging in casino games in to be not operational for a while the police investigate this crime that happened.
Yeah.
Or because it's an online game, this crime that is happening like 50 times per hour.
Is this event put on by the casino?
Oh, that would be fun.
Probably, yeah.
Hey, you know what would be fun? If people could heist us.
Shit.
We know what kind of clientele we have. Let's put on an
GTA
event.
is basically like Disneyland for like criminals. It's
I'm
just
kind
like,
of blown away
yeah.
that actual straight up Las Vegas, that some struggling casino hasn't actually said, you know what, we're gonna do
The Ocean's
Circus
11
Circus or
experience.
something. Yeah, and I just haven't been like, what we need to do a branded experience where once or twice or 3 times a day we take a group of people together and make them do the heist.
Right. It's
Like
basically,
that,
I mean,
like teach them how to do it and then have them do it.
I guess it's basically like Westworld,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's all digital.
that's a good point.
All right.
Because you could charge big. You could be like, it's $2,000 a person to do the thing, and you're gonna spend the whole day doing whatever, and then you're gonna get you guys in some nice suits, and you're all gonna have a job to do, and we're gonna give you like little fucking Among Us games to play that make you feel like you're actually doing it, and then and you'll have guys like you'll be crawling through vents and stuff.
Don't forget to empty out the leaves trap.
What's the opposite of it's like it's not an escape room, it's a get in room.
Prison break.
No, it's
you're
like
trying to break in.
You're trying to break into the room.
Right. Well, that's the idea. Is that you're trying to break into a prison to get someone out.
Yeah, people don't really. That's not
Fair enough.
not
Infiltration
I don't think
room.
that's a good-
Infiltration room sounds good though. I like
Yeah.
that.
Maybe that's something you could set up in Fallout 76 because they are adding customized private servers in Fallout 76. So there already was a thing in Fallout 76 where you can be part of the special or Fallout First subscriber,
Right.
which basically makes it so you can have your own private Fallout world, where you don't have to hang out with the riffraff of the public servers, and you and your friends, anybody you invite, can enjoy the post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland in peace.
This is apparently a very popular option because now we've got these private server things.
And so they're going to be rolling out a thing called Fallout Worlds, which allows which allows you to further customize your personal server. So they're going to be doing 2 things. They're going to be making it so people with private servers can customize their servers. They can do like make the game easier, give yourself infinite ammo, raising the height limit for settlements they have, building camps in previously restricted places, summoning big monsters, jumping as high as you like. So you can mess around with everything on the server, which sounds pretty neat.
You kind of threw in a piece there at the end where it's like you just break the laws of physics.
Yeah, that's how all these games work, right?
I mean, Infinite Ammo is also doing that.
Give people a double jump in Fallout. That would really break people's minds.
And then they're also going to be using the same technology to be doing like fun public customized public. So like there'll be like a rotating thing of like, for a week there's a special server you can go onto where you can jump really high. Or there's a server where you can go on to where you can build stuff that you wouldn't normally be able to build, or that kind of stuff. So there's going to be a public thing, and then there's also going to be you set up your own server the way you want. It kind of sounds like Minecraft or something, really.
So does that mean private servers are new, or is it
no?
just
Private servers existed before, but they were private in the sense that like nobody else, or only the people you invite are on the server. It was just the standard Fallout server. So this new thing is being able to customize the server to your own specifications, I guess.
Yeah. Right. I think I love the idea of the public facing Fallout Worlds servers where as a means of encouraging people to try something if they're already playing the game, to encourage people to try a different form of the game that has some changes to it to kind of keep that experience fresh and hopefully functional, which would then probably help draw them into paying for that Fallout First subscription so that they can do that privately and invite all their buddies and be like, let's all come in here and hang out. And I think the idea is that the person who's operating that server can invite people who don't have Fallout First to be a part of that server.
Yeah, I think the idea is it's like you and your buddies can hang out.
And your buddies don't have to have Fallout First in order to come and hang out on your server. But I think it probably means that you have to be the one logged in order to operate it all the time. But it's a little different than a Minecraft server, then I would assume, where it's like you can just set up a Minecraft server and people can log in whenever.
All right, so there's a couple of stories here that I made note of since the episode went up, just because I either they're more recent or I missed it, but I thought these were silly ones we could talk about. First one being, so there's something weird going on with New World, the MMO, Amazon's MMO called New World, where not everybody, but a surprisingly large number of people have reported that the game is bricking their 3090 of NVIDIA 3090 graphics cards, which if you don't know, we mentioned it a couple times on CheckPoint, but if you don't know, graphics cards are currently in extremely tight demand, and 3090 is basically the top of the top at the moment.
Yep. And now they're in even more demand.
I don't know what it is what it costs retail. But
well, someone in chat will tell me.
But yeah, but a lot of them are things. So, and it's thought to be so there's a lot of sort of going back and forth, being like, this can't be a thing. This game is killing graphics cards. Like that can't be. Like, there's no way a game should have the kind of access that would allow it to do that, right? And it seems to be some sort of weird combination of this particular game, what this game is doing, and some possibly questionable stuff on some models of graphics cards, specifically the EVGA ones, which is their manufacturer of graphics cards. So essentially, the problem appears to be that when you're playing the game, especially if you have a really good graphics card, your frame rate could be super nice. You might even, modern games probably not going to get up like that high because it's super pretty, but you might get 100 frames a second, 200 frames a second or something with these super high end graphics cards, depending on what your settings are. So one thing that you can do is there's various things that match your frame rate to your monitor's refresh rate to make sure that you don't get any like weird half frames or anything like that, or frame tearing and things. VSync is what it used to be called, but there's like new things now that are also do it. But anyway, the problem is a lot of games, and this one included, don't turn that synchronization feature on until the game actually like starts. And so on the menu of the game, there's still like 3D stuff. There would be like a 3D something in the background, right? Just for ambiance when you're in the menu. And that thing in the background is usually really simple. And the various techniques that games use to limit the frame rate to smooth things out haven't activated yet for whatever reason. Which means that a lot of the time on the title screen or on the menu screens of these games, it just is peaked. It just uncaps the frame rate. People are reporting frame rates in the like tens of thousands of speed rendering these things. And so it basically just suddenly pins the graphics card for all it can get for no reason.
And if you leave it there long enough without the knowledge that this is what's happening, your card burns itself out because it's doing too much.
Well, that shouldn't happen though, right? Like,
no, it shouldn't.
Graphics, but like technically it shouldn't happen. Graphics cards have all sorts of things on them that if they get above a certain temperature, you know, they're supposed
to manage
there's
themselves,
speed stepping and limitations and stuff. So it's not entirely clear why these graphics cards why this is happening. Probably something to do with some weird, either something to do with the hardware or something to do with like a glitch in the drivers and stuff. So it's not technically it's not really Amazon's fault. They're kind of like the fact that they did this on the menu screen is kind of sloppy, but it shouldn't be. It's not really their fault that that this game is burning out cards. Right. It's more the fault of the drivers drivers. But it's still really funny.
This could have been any other game could have come along and done this at some point.
Yeah.
It just happened to be this one.
Yeah. But I mean, and also though, like, take heart in knowing that Jeff Bezos thanks every Amazon employee and every Amazon company customer because they paid to make this happen to gamers.
Oh God. He's referring to the whole thing where he thanked all the Amazon customers for making him go into space. But does this mean like the graphics cards are like they're just kaput? Like what happens?
Apparently, the graphics card is just like burned out. Like it is no longer operational, which is a real.
But
pain.
are they gonna have to like? If this happened to me, does this mean I have to go buy a new graphics card, or has the graphics card company said anything?
As far as I know, there hasn't been any info from the graphics card company on this.
Chat says that EVGA spokesman has said, yes, all failed 3090s are being replaced.
Oh, well, there you go.
So that's cool. That's according to a PC Gamer article that is linked in chat right now.
Awesome.
And good for EVGA for doing that. And if it is a fault with their cards, then, I mean, being on them is definitely good on them for saying we will look after that. But holy shit, that's a harsh thing to try to chase down.
Amazon is also pushing out an update to the game to make sure that the frame rate on the menu screen is capped. Just because they should be doing... Because it's like, even if the card doesn't die like in this way, there's the thing where like, if you've ever booted up a game and then like got distracted or like, you're making tea or something and like go off and do something. It's sitting there on your, it's sitting there on the menu screen running at 100%, absolutely pinned for no reason. Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely something they should fix.
Like they might as well, like so they're releasing a patch to fix this as well. And they did a statement. They'd be like, hey, we're releasing a patch to fix this, but to be clear, we're using totally normal, API calls. We're not doing anything fancy on our end.
No. I mean, other than an incredibly like involved or the well, you know, you said it. It was a very simple 3D kind of thing going on. It was there's no reason for the cards to have to spin themselves up like that in that way.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah. It's just that they have the frame rate uncapped. So anyway, uh, that's one of these stories that is like it's a fun story, and it's even more good that it's sort of resolved now, and that people seem to be
Yeah.
sort of doing the right thing about it. So,
The
although
long the long,
I would be the question is, of course, are there available cards to replace these cards?
right.
But
I mean, I did like that somebody said that depending on what actually fried, maybe we get a run of refurbs in the next year. Which, if they can, like, if the whole idea is like I send you back the burnt out card so that I can get the new one, or you can fix it or whatever you can on it,
Yeah.
might not be a bad thing given the shortage.
Because people were saying, I saw somebody in the chat say that there's a suspicion that it's the VRAM that isn't heat throttled, and that's what's causing the problem. Is that while the chip itself is like able to keep up or whatever, the VRAM itself is like it cooked itself, and that's why that's why the card breaks. It's because like we don't have any video RAM to write to anymore. So who knows what actually broke and what they might even be able to fix at this point, because that if that's just a thing of we need to replace chips, it means, well, then you've got to like send it to a foundry that can remove the chips and put new chips in and do whatever. The thing that's interesting to me, I guess, about this is that this is a perfect storm. It's software and hardware working together to fuck itself. And so it's like it's tempting to say that, well, this is all Amazon's fault. But it's also tempting for people to be like, well, no, it's all EVGA's fault. And it's like, well, if your EVGA card is just sitting in Windows or is playing a dozen or 10 dozen other games and it never has this problem, then can you really blame it on EVGA? So it's Amazon's fault. And it's like, yes, but not every card from every manufacturer is burning themselves out sitting on the menu screen. So can you really blame Amazon for this?
I mean, you can blame the card.
And I'm like, you blame
yes
both sides is what you do. It's okay to blame both people in this case because let's be fair, computer companies have been blaming us for breaking their shit for years when it's clear. And if you've ever had to call tech support, you've always been told that, oh, that's not a Microsoft Windows problem. That's an Adobe problem. Oh, that's not an Adobe problem. That's a Microsoft Windows problem. And all you want to do is just go into the server room and start breaking shit.
All right.
I know where you can go to do that.
Thing later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you're muddling it a little bit. Like, yeah, okay, Amazon is at fault for what they did, but it is still the graphics card's fault, and we went through that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is that like the 3090 is a new card, and so it might be partially related to like this is just like one of the more recent high performance new beta high performance games that has come out since the card has come out, and so so this particular bug in this particular card wasn't revealed until now.
Though I bet you there's a lot of game companies who are seeing the story and being like, oh shit, let's put a test.
Yeah, we should
let's
probably check
that.
Test.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
All right, and the last story I have here is something I saw a couple people talk about. War Thunder. Is a tank fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
And in particular, it is a simulation style tank fighting game, as in the tank. It's supposed to be like a quite accurate simulation fighting with tanks. You know, the tanks don't like go drive around, right? Like it's
super
like,
accurate tank play,
like driving a real tank.
And planes and ships, according to Space Pup. But yeah, we're going to concentrate on the tank part.
Okay.
So, and one of the tanks in it is called the Challenger 2.
All right.
Which is a real tank. All the tanks in it are real tanks from different.
A modern tank as well.
Yeah, and it is the current tank that is in use by the British Army and has been since 1994.
Okay, all right.
It's in operational service all over the place. So on their forums, somebody, a user brought up point that the tank wasn't operating the way they think the tank should. It is inaccurate because of the dimension. It's basically that there's under the main gun turret. There's a basically there was a space there that shouldn't be there that made the tank more vulnerable than it should be. The tank should be less vulnerable than it was.
Okay.
To prove this, and so they argued back and forth. To prove this point, this user then posted the Challenger 2 Army Equipment Support publication, which is basically the tank's user manual.
Like, oh, well, that's helpful that they would have that.
Which did support them, by the way.
Okay.
The problem is, that is a classified document.
A government classified documents.
Yes.
Not by the company, by the people who bought the tanks.
The version he posted had like unclassified stamped on it.
Right.
So the whatever it's called, the UK Ministry of Defence apparently contacted Gaijin, the developer, and informed them in writing that that manual is indeed classified. And when they declassify things, they don't put that's not like a stamp thing that they use. Like, that's not.
They don't stamp it unclassified, no.
And apparently they did confirm,
not a secret.
They did confirm that is the real thing, which is surprised. That's one aspect of this that people find kind of surprising. That usually they wouldn't actually like confirm that this is the real thing, but I guess they had to in order to get it to do. Anyway,
to get it taken down.
It's not, and it has not previously been released under Freedom of Information stuff. So the company immediately took it down, and basically posted being like, so yeah, it turns out that this is like a violation of the Official Secrets Act, which can, carry up to 14 years in prison. So we're going to take it down, and we request that nobody else repost it, because everyone's downloaded at this point, probably.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, there's various arguments. This is a 1994 tank. Like, there's various arguments about whether this is actually that big a secret, in the sense that these tanks have been very common use for quite a long time.
Sure.
And the kind of information that is in this document, you could probably get from looking at the tank through binoculars.
Right.
Okay.
But that doesn't. That's like. But the government tends to be quite reluctant to declassify. They tend to be pretty careful about classifying. Reluctant about declassifying things, and so they anyway. This is definitely was definitely classified. So yeah, it's unclear. I mean, this person said that they were like, you should believe me.
Intimately familiar. Yeah.
You should believe me because I used to work at a tank command, and apparently their like location bears this out. That like they live in an area that has a tank command base. They're still. I at least there hasn't been released any information whether that is actually true, but
right,
that's where they got. Anyway, they didn't like currently work for the military, but anyway, so it's the like, oh yeah, well, I'm an actual tank commander. Oh yeah, prove it. Here's classified documents that I'll go to jail for showing you. Wait. I just remembered I should show you that.
What's that saying? I cut off my nose to spite my own face?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not that important to win an online argument.
Also, why send the whole goddamn document? If your problem is with this one thing, why not just
Which
take the document and take the one page and be like, this is a page out of the manual that shows this one thing, and redact the shit yourself, even if you're like, I hopefully won't get in trouble for this.
and like
But
a picture of the tank, like just a photo of the tank probably would have been sufficient to prove the point.
yeah,
Anyway,
we'll figure it out.
If you don't work there anymore, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to just take shit with you. Like I feel like if I left Loading Ready Run and I took a bunch of our footage with us and then I posted it online, people would be a little
True.
like, what?
we can't
what,
let people
why?
know about all our tanks.
Why-
But that is, I mean, on the other hand, that is how video game preservation works these days. Is you're always
Don't
running
get
into people who used to work in a
I don't
place.
want to get into arguments about how piracy and video game preparation today.
If we're gonna preserve the very precarious quality of the international military-industrial complex, then people are gonna have to steal classified documents.
So the worst part about this
Yeah.
is that, as a matter of policy, the company developing this game, War of Thunder, is like, we are not going to fix this tank based on information, whether it's accurate or not, based on information that is illegal for us to have. So we're not going to update this. So after all that, they're not even actually going to fix the thing that the guy was
I don't
annoyed
think
about.
They
Yeah.
can.
Like, theoretically, they probably, there's all sorts of, I can't see how they could actually get in trouble for it legally. But as a policy, it's probably, and that's probably for the best. They don't want people leaking them specs on various things to win arguments as a general rule. So yeah, no matter how realistic this happened like a few years ago. Some game developers were arrested taking pictures of a military base for Arma. Like, they were
Right.
Arma developers, and they were taking pictures of a military base, and the military was like, don't. Please.
I know that it's like, if you live in a town where they have a military base, and it's the kind of thing maybe you pass every day, or that it's just kind of there, and you're like, I could literally just drive past this place and stand on the side of the road and look at it. And it's like, yeah, and the government probably won't give two shits about you one way or the other, right? That kind of idea.
That's how long you stare at it.
That's what's the thing, and it's like, there's you get that idea of like, I'm so used to this being here that I guess I'm just allowed to do whatever I want with what I can do with from the road, and it's like, that's not entirely true. There's that I do have that sense of, yes, if I stand on a sidewalk and I want to take pictures of other people on the street, it's like, I'm allowed to do that kind of thing. And I also know that there is a sliding scale for those things as well.
Yeah.
It's like, there's
I
certain
also
points
just
where-
don't want that kind of attention.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna pay attention to you.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, let's. So that's all the new stuff we had. Now, coming up, I'll tell you. So coming up tonight is not Friday Night Paper Fight. There's no Friday Night Paper Fight tonight, and I don't think there's any streams. That's because it's the great big gladiator games going on.
All right.
Saturday and Sunday, all day, both days. First day is going to be a 200 plus person Swiss match, Swiss tournament. Day 2 is going to be a top 8 ladder. It should be super, super neat. Very excited. We've been doing tons of work on getting it all set up, and
And prizes.
I think you'll really like it. Yeah, and there's going to be prizes on both days from
For the people playing or the people watching?
for the people playing.
Okay. I just feel like that's a good thing to note, because sometimes we do things for people watching, and I want it to be clear.
Yeah. There was a I can't remember who it was. Somebody in chat, a mod the other day, had said that there's over 200 people signed up, I guess, to participate already.
Yep.
And it's
There's over 200 people, and it's should be super neat. Should be super neat. It's going to be serious business. So we got a whole commentary team, and should be super fun. So that's going on Saturday and Sunday. So there won't be any Rhythm Cafe or Is This Your Card on Sunday.
Yeah. So much magic can only be contained.
Exactly. And then on Monday morning is apparently Umargari Generation. I did not know that was happening, but Cameron is going to be playing it.
Yeah. Cameron's taking on the next Play It Forward.
Next Play It
Kathleen
Forward.
just finished up hers today.
Kathleen's was very short.
Good.
Followed by the Can't Draw Horses Club. And then I don't think it's possible there might be a Dice Friends thing, but I don't think that is currently on the docket.
Yeah.
We're currently just taking a little break on Dice Friends. But then on Monday, we are back to 9 o'clock. Resident Evil Village on Talking Simulator.
That doesn't seem...
And Going Under on Let's Know. I think those might be the wrong way around.
I think James may have mixed up some games.
Or maybe it's opposite day.
Maybe, who knows?
Maybe they swapped.
Yeah.
That could be fun. Anyway, lots of cool stuff coming up in various orders. But in particular, if you like Magic Arena and Gladiator in particular, tune in tomorrow and Sunday, because that's what's going to be going on. Now, let's thank lots of awesome people who subscribed during the stream. Starting with...
I like This Will Forever Be.
Reynard Recca for 54 months. Thank you.
Belle Bastet for 8 months. Welcome back.
I was saying I'm really happy that this is just kind of the set music for our subs now. Getting a little of that spicy Atreides. A brand new subscriber. Welcome to the channel. Glad to have you.
Lithobreaker has been gifted a sub. Welcome.
And Serial... Oops,
back.
sorry.
Go ahead.
God, I got excited. Serial Tram for 6 months. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Were there any bits in the bit bucket today?
Thank you, all you awesome people. No bits. Oh,
150 from Fairbender.
Too late on the bit snipe. The sniping doesn't work if there's no bits to prime the pump. It doesn't even show the bit thing.
No. Thank you, Gap Filler.
Anyway, thank you everybody for the thank you for the bits there, Fairbender and Gap Filler, and thanks everybody for watching. We will talk to all y'all later. Bye.